can't imagine, but it is happening. One turn, straight down that road could open up the door to so much more. I've been wasting my dreams on hours I sleep, but this time I believe, yeah. Words are worth saying, dreams are worth claiming now. Hear me when I speak. My fear, it is not real, no, it's not real. It's just another lie, and it cuts me down to size. And I'm here, yeah, I'm here for the very first time. Right here, right now, I am here. Like I am born again, and the world is opening. I've been wasting my dreams on hours I sleep, but this time I believe that words are worth saying, no, dreams are worth claiming now. Hear me, God, hear me. And it's the only voice that's changed my life. It's changed my life, yeah. And it declares that happiness is my right. It's my right, my word can move my soul. It moves my soul where I can't imagine, but it is happening. I've been wasting my dreams on hours I sleep, but this time I believe, yeah, that words are worth saying, oh, dreams are worth claiming now. Oh, hear me, I've been wasting my dreams on hours that I sleep, but this time, yeah, this time I believe that words are worth saying, no, dreams are worth claiming. Claim it now. Hear me when I speak. Hear me, sweet spirit. Hear my words when I speak. Oh, hear me.
Thank you, Laura, for that beautiful song. And Juliet, I'm going to spotlight you for today's meditation.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Laura, for that amazing, beautiful, heart-opening song. So now is our time. We get to be still together and meditate and allow the vibration of what Laura just brought to all of our cells, every part of our body, Um, and so we'll start with closing our eyes for a moment. And maybe in this moment, you feel the vibration that Laura just created. And we begin to feel our heart open. We begin to feel and become more present right here and now. And in this moment, maybe taking a moment to just notice your body, scan your body. What is your body like in this moment? What are your hands like? Your feet like? Your back? Your head? And just seeing if you can notice each part of your body and then move on. Maybe giving thanks, being in gratitude for your amazing body. But just allowing that to bring you more into the here and now. And then we tune our attention to our breath, any aspect of your breath. Maybe we notice where our breath is in our body. You feel it in your chest or your back. Can you feel it in your head? Or maybe that little pause after an exhale before we take our next breath that happens naturally, that stillness. And so during this time of meditation and stillness, we'll just allow ourselves to use our breath as an anchor, if that works for you. That any time we notice we are in the future or in the past, or that we've become involved in a story or thought, we just allow ourselves to re-anchor by gently and lovingly bringing ourselves back to our breath each time we become aware of that. And knowing that this time, this stillness, this community meditation is more real than anything else, more whole, more present than anything else that came before this or will come next. So we just allow ourselves to be in the here and now, communing with God, communing with each other as God, communing with the infinite within. So we'll just take a few moments to be in the stillness and in the silence, which is filled with infinity. With each breath, we become more and more present, more and more available. Simply noticing, where is your attention? And so as we begin to close out this time of stillness, we allow our hearts to remain open, our consciousness to remain in receiving mode, knowing that this afternoon's service is filled with divine love, divine joy, harmony, truth, and uplifting vibration. And so we just remain open, available, present, and filled with gratitude for what is about to unfold. And so, in gratitude and thanksgiving for this service, for all members of this community, and for what is about to be delivered, we just give thanks and saying together, and so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Thank you, Juliet. And Chris, I'm going to spotlight you for today's readings.
Today's reading is adapted from the Unity Daily Word by Reverend David. I release worry and know prosperity. Perhaps the greatest gift of a prosperity consciousness is freedom from worry. It is knowing that as a divine being, I can draw from an infinite storehouse of divine ideas and prosper myself in infinite ways. This awareness helps me keep the things of the world in proper perspective. Like anyone, I know times of plenty and times of lack. Understanding my prosperity as a spiritual truth and not the quality or number of my belongings or the amount of money I have in the bank gives me energy to direct my life. I am prosperous. As I affirm this truth again and again, I grow richer in divine ideas, the building blocks of everything on earth. And so it is.
And so it is.
Please join me in our opening affirmation. There is only one power and one presence, active in the universe and in my life. God in everything and everyone. The infinite source of love, abundance, harmony, wholeness, intelligence, and joy is expressing as me.
Thanks, Chris. And Reverend Verona, I'm going to spotlight you. We give you a warm Zoom welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. It's so great to be here, and thank you for the warm Zoom welcome on a what appears to be a cold day. So what came through me today for us to co-create together is what and where are you listening from, and what could this possibly be about? Just a little bit about it is the noise of the world deluging you these days, and how do I figure out, or where is there any distinguisher in what I'm hearing? So before we start, I'd like to always start with a little giggle. So here's our little giggle for today. There was a young couple, and they were celebrating their 60th birthday together. It's all in your perspective. They were celebrating their 60th birthday together, and a genie showed up in their home, and the genie said, you can have whatever you like. You can have one thing each. You can have whatever you'd like. So the woman said, I always wanted to travel more. And they closed their eyes, and then they opened their eyes up, and there she was with handfuls of tickets to every place around the globe. And so the man kind of ashamedly had his head down and was saying, well, really what I wished for was a younger wife. So they closed their eyes, and when they opened them back up, he was 90 years old. Yeah, just a little giggle to remind us that in our enlightenment, in our expansion, in the spaciousness of the divine within, there is always room for a giggle. And we all know that laughter has been proven to be one of the best medicines. Thank you, David. Hee hee. So, speaking about what and where are you listening from? We are in a world today. First, I'd like to say that for times such as this, each one of us has come. We have chosen to be here at this time. Yes, I know that maybe doesn't sound, you may not want to think that, but each one of us, we made a distinct contract with the divine and said, for times such as these, I am coming, I am incarnating. So in the world today, it could feel like there's a lot of human appearances, war, strife, tumult, upheaval. There's a lot of things going on. And it could appear that none of it has anything to do with spirit. It could appear that way. And in the human appearance part of it, it could look like, well, where and what can I listen? In what ways do I find out the real truth? Okay. And part of what's going on in our world today, I believe, is that chaos is a necessary part of transformation. You know, there has to be chaos before anything happens. One of the chaotic things that I can just think of right now is birth. There's a lot of chaos happening when birth is happening. Yes, when a human being is birthed, okay, which is what I've participated in. There's a lot of loving, wonderful, natural things happening. However, there's a lot of chaos. I mean, there's a lot of different things going on in this and that and the other, and it seems to be chaos. So for what our world is calling out for now, chaos is absolutely necessary. Nothing gets birthed, nothing gets co-created, nothing gets brought forth without some sort of chaos. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that as we move through the world today, and I want to say, whether in the world today you are grieving or celebrating, whether in the world today you feel like, oh, I don't know what's going on, or if you felt like hip hip hooray, it's just the way it's supposed to be, there is still most definitely a transformation happening. This is what time we have come for. There's a transformation happening on the planet because the divine masculine and the divine feminine are learning to do a different sort of dance together. Those two entities are now dancing in a different way and integrating with one another in a different way. And this is bringing about not just transformation, but transmutation on the planet. And what is transmutation? Transmutation can be defined as a change from one nature or condition. And I believe that's what we're living through. I believe that's exactly what's happening here. That especially that's what we're living through in these United States of America. And as we know, we're not just this little protectionist place, that not little, but a huge country that's protectionist. It's a global world now. There's no just like, well, I live in France, or I live in Spain, or I live in Kenya, or I live in Nigeria, or I live in any other places. It's a global world now. And so in our global world, I believe that's what's going on. That's what's happening. And so that we get an opportunity to really flex those muscles of listening. We get to really know where or what am I listening from? Am I listening from the brain in my brain? Am I listening from the brain in my heart? Yeah, it's been proven now. And those of you who are familiar with heart math, I'm sure you know about this. There's a brain in our heart. And the other part about this I'd like to add on is, am I listening to my soul? Because our soul is always speaking to us. I had the great opportunity to speak to a dear friend recently who moved to Michigan, and we've been missing each other in our, text and all this. And he said to me, well, if we don't talk soon, our souls can talk to one another. Just know that our souls are communicating with each other, so that all of our souls are communicating with each other. Whatever is our opinion about what's going on in the world, our souls are all interconnected, because we come here with a blueprint. Each one of us had a blueprint. Each one of us has a blueprint. And guess what? All of those blueprints all connect with one another, because we are all together in the oneness. Each one of us is, as we know, a macrocosm of the microcosm, but also each one of us is like a little godlet, a little spiritlet. That's what I like to call it, because each one of us, we all fit together. So in this time on our planet, this time in these United States of America, which is a blessed time, whether you feel that way or not, it is a blessing, because everything that's happening now is expanding us and stretching us out into what? The spaciousness of the divine within and as each one of us. Yeah. So what and where are you listening from made me think of a story, not a story, but brought for me something that I've been hearing here recently, and I'd like to share it with you. You've probably heard about it too. I want to talk to you about an Army battalion of WACs, Women's Army Corps, the 6888. And there is a movie coming out about them, coming out, I think, the 6th of December. But what struck me about the 6888 is they were also in a time of seeming tumult, war. They were in war. They were in World War II, strife, upheaval, and transmutation on the planet. So I will tell you a little bit about the 6888. I'm so intrigued with them. The 6888 was Women's Army Corps, 850 African-American women. Okay, so maybe if you don't know, if you're really young, you may not know that in World War II, the military was segregated, much like things were here in the United States. So these women, 850 African-American women in a battalion called the 6888. They were in the European theater from March of 1945 to March of 1946. Now, what did these women do? They were sent to be the postal service of the Army. I mean, it just blows my mind that they got sent to Europe to be this. Now, they're getting to Europe, of course, during that time. My dad was in World War II, God rest his soul. And he did tell me that going to Europe was not that much fun. It was pretty, on the ocean and da-da-da-da. So they had a rather tumultuous trip to Europe. They ended up in Birmingham, England. And when they got to Birmingham, England, there was 2 years worth of mail backed up in a warehouse. Mail, Christmas packages. I mean, any of us who've had people with family in the military, we send stuff. So they get there, and they were told that this was a 6-month job that they were going to be assigned to. It would take 6 months to get this up. Now, probably like me, I was thinking like, well, so what difference does it make? Because now we have text messaging and emails. However, then the mail was a part of the morale of the soldiers. I can't imagine being in Europe at war, a young man or a young woman, and not getting any mail from my family, not being in touch with my loved ones, not knowing that they're thinking about me. In my heart, I would know that, but not knowing that. So anyway, this was their assignment. They lived in deplorable working conditions, a big warehouse, no heat. Yes, Birmingham, England, in March of 1945. And they ended up doing the 6-month job in 3 months' time. And they were a self-contained unit, which means they were their own motor pool, their own police, their own mess hall, their own chaplain, everything. They were a self-contained unit. And how did they do this from 6 months assignment to 3 months? They had a specialized system of locator cards that they came up with. that they invented. And they got the mail to all the soldiers. And some of the packages that rats had eaten into in the warehouse, they replenished it with what they could from the people in Birmingham, England, because the people there loved them. They were happy they were there. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm so happy to learn about this part of history, Reverend Verona, because I didn't know. I also did not know. I myself, Verona Garland, did not know. However, in what way does this connect to what and where are you listening from? Well, I believe the women of the 6888 were listening from the brain in their hearts versus the brain in their brain. I believe the women from the 6888 were using some spiritual practices that are available to each and every one of us every single day of our lives. I think that they knew these spiritual practices that I'm going to talk about in a minute. And I also believe that the women of the 6888 understood, just like what is going on for us in this time of transformation, transmutation, that we, each one of us is put here as the beacon, the radiance of the divine for this transformation, for what's unfolding, for what needs to happen. So for me, after I learned about the women of the 6888, I was thinking, well, in what ways, what spiritual practices can I use? I always like to think of my spiritual tool belt. You know, we have a lot of things on our spiritual tool belt, and what can I use in my spiritual tool belt? And what showed up for me first is be the light. Be the light. Yeah, and in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes says, an attitude of quietness and confidence, a listening attitude, will open the way for the voice of spirit to speak to the inner ear. We can so train our ears to listen to the divine harmony within that we shall reproduce its melody, rhythm, and light in all of our ways. So part of this is, the beginning is to be the light. I get to listen from within. I, we, they get to listen from within. By the way, there is no they. I just want to say that right now, straight up front. There is no they. We are all one in the divine. There is no they. So that word, I mean, I'm sure it's a good English word for some sort of sentences. However, in knowing the truth of the divine and knowing the truth of God, Allah, Olodumare, Jehovah Jireh, all those names, so vast, the essence. The they is us. We are the they. So, but anyway, we can be the light by absolutely having an attitude of quietness and confidence. And Juliet, thank you for the wonderful meditation, because that is absolutely the place and space where we get to just, I felt myself just slipping into it. And that right there in that space of listening, solitude, stillness, we get to be the light. And the light shines itself through and as each one of us. I mean, I, you, we, there's no holding the light back. It's us, it's who and what we are. So if I allow myself to be the light, if I allow myself to listen to that inner voice and know, then this is part of who and what I'm listening from, part of the me being, what part of this transmutation am I? The second tool we have on our spiritual tool belt is integrous intentionality. I have to tell you too, you all know I love words. So I love this, integrous intentionality. And what is integrous intentionality? Is the guidance from within. And the thing is, I was thinking to myself, I was actually talking to Spirit saying, and how will I know? In what way will I know it's guidance from within? Well, it's succinct, it's clear, and it's concise. And in this clarity, in this conciseness, in this succinctness, one of the things we get to be aware of is, or beware of, is our ego, our brain speak, our ego. And you know, Wayne Dyer says the word ego means edging God out. I love that, edging God out. So we get to be aware of our ego. My ego can say all sorts of things to me. My ego can say things that are so pervasive and so, they're so make me think that, oh, this is it. Like my ego can say to me, well, there's no need for you to like those people, Verona. My ego can say to me, there's something wrong with them. My ego, you know, can, and I don't want to blaspheme our ego here, because our ego is good for a lot of things. Our ego, you know, keeps it, like, for one thing, it keeps me from stepping off the curb, walking into traffic. You know, that's just a small thing. However, If we have integrous intentionality, and if we listen, and in this is a biblical phrase that, or biblical verse that really speaks to this in the first chapter of James, verse 19, it says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak." Yeah. And I know that I understand we're all in this human thing together, spiritual beings having this human experience. Sometimes that's a challenge. Quick to listen and slow to speak. Sometimes I want to be transparent and admit I'm in a conversation with someone and all I'm thinking about is what I'm going to say back. However, if I give myself an opportunity to be intentionally integrous, have intentionality of integrity. What is the integrity here? In what ways can I be the integrity of the divine? So this is another way that we can allow ourselves to be part of this transmutation and remember what and where and even who are we listening from. And Joel Goldsmith says, in other words, there is no longer merely an intellectual knowledge about truth, but the truth becomes a living thing within our being. Yeah. It's no longer intellectual. It's just a part of our being. It's in our cells. It's in our fiber. It's in our atoms. It's just a part of our being. So the third way, that's two ways, okay? So the third way, of course, we already went through be the light and integrous intentionality. And for me, the third thing that came up on the spiritual tool belt, which is the absolute easiest, not easiest, but it's the most innate, prayer, 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 prayer. And there are so many different types of prayer. Affirmative prayer, where I already know the truth. I claim and name and call it forth and magnetize it and maybe even demand it of the universe. But affirmative prayer. Then the second kind of prayer is praise and worship prayer. Praise and worship, praising spirit and worshiping spirit in the prayer. Okay, that's just, and that doesn't, I don't think it needs an explanation, just praise and worship. You know, that word hallelujah is a part of praise and worship types of prayer. And then the other type of prayer is agenda-less prayer. Agenda-less prayer. When I am having a conversation with the divine, I don't have any agenda. I don't have a list of things that I'm praying for or about or calling forth or affirming and knowing. Agendaless prayer, when I am having the sweet, tender, gentle conversation with the one power that created me and you and everything else. So that's the other thing we can use is all the different forms of prayer. So these three things, a prayer, integrous intentionality, and be the light, the way they're showing up in my life, and usually it really shows up, like the example goes just like this in me. Today, the example is Tinder, and I'm going to be really open and vulnerable here. The change that is happening in the United States of America, for me, is not something that I anticipated or that I expected. Okay. Now, being an African American woman of a certain age, I'm not just 25, so I've been here a long time, a little bit. I've been here a minute. I realize that some of the things that are unfolding in our world, they don't surprise me. However, that doesn't mean they bring me joy or that I like them. So for me, I was thinking, okay, so what Spirit, I actually was talking with Spirit, in what way am I part of the transmutation of the planet? In what way, what can I listen from? And I realized I need to listen from the brain in my heart, the heart of my heart, the soul of my soul. And so for me, what has shown up with these three spiritual practices that we've been co-creating and talking about here together is first, be the light. Be the light of, for me, compassion and forgiveness. Be the light, shine the light as brightly as I can, even though in some moments I may not be feeling that. However, allow myself to know that this spiritual being having a human experience, that there is no duality in spirit. So there's sometimes I may not feel it. However, know that that is the foundation of who and what I am. Be the light. The second, integrous intentionality for me, listen to the guidance from within. And the guidance from within surprised me. I'm going to tell you, I'm from a family of activists. My parents marched in the civil rights movement and were jailed in the civil rights movement, and all my aunts and my uncles and my grandparents. And however, when I got to be an adult, I decided, and they took us along. It wasn't something that that's not the way I brought forth my light in particular. I brought it in ministry. I brought it in all sorts of other ways, but not really being an activist. Well, the integrous intentionality, the guidance from within is let me know now it's time to be an activist in whatever way that shows up. And just and for that, what showed up for us, spirit, in what way, where do I, what is mine to be, spirit? Prayer. I got to having that, be in that agendaless prayer part of life where I was really, where I am, not was, but where I am having a conversation with the divine. And I don't come to the conversation with anything but my heart, willingness, obedience, and the listening from my heart. And I am surprised, and I am committed, and I am open to it, because I do get my part in the transmutation of this world. And each one of us, it's not just me, each one of us has a uniquely bespoke, customized version of this. Each one of us can use those 3 spiritual practices: be the light, integrous intentionality, and prayer, prayer, prayer. So today I'm inviting you to listen from within. Allow yourself to listen from within. Listen from within your heart, your soul. Listen from within, knowing that it is succinct, it is clear, and it is absolutely comes through in the way that exactly I can understand, you can understand. I'm inviting you, while you're being the light of integrous intentionality, hold it all in a container of absolute love. We can do this together. Blessings.
From the darkest place to a higher space, calling from every direction. On every single path I have stood strong, then cowered fast. What a strange perception. Well, life is demanding, but I am understanding. The best I could was where I stood for a higher good, a greater truth. Where once it was covered, now I have proof. There's a bigger lesson, one I never expected, rising up from misunderstood. A higher good. Oh. I'm always getting ready on steps that are so unsteady, dancing the same old dances. Oh, I'm never really sure how to fit myself through the door. Well, it's all part of taking chances. Well, life is demanding, but I am understanding. The best I could, the best I fine day, this fine day, for a higher good and a greater truth. Where once it was covered, now I have proof. There's a bigger lesson, one I never expected. Rising up, I am rising up. We are rising up from misunderstood. The higher good, the higher good, so good.
Thank you, Laura Berman. So beautiful. I'd like us to stay in a prayerful state right now as we envision healing for some members of our community. I'd like to keep Marianne Babiars in our prayers right now for strength and continued healing, for Don Barnett and his family for continued strength, divine intelligence, and to Linda Miller, who's about to have surgery, cancer surgery in a few days. Let's hold her in light. And so last night, Karen Drucker, there was a chair on stage and she said, imagine someone who's not in the room right now, or it could be someone in the room right now, but just imagine someone sitting in that chair who you would like to just imagine them sitting in that chair, surrounded by light and love and healing, knowing the truth for them if they can't know it for themselves right now. Who would that be? So we lend the prayer power of each and every person in this room, each and every great consciousness in this room, to this spiritual practice, to this changing of consciousness that's really palpable in this unified field that we're in. It really is a unified field that we're in. So I could feel everyone's prayer power magnified and reinforced. And I call this a blessing, and so it is. And I'm going to share my screen and do some zoomy things here. And let's bless the love offerings that continue to come in, for which we are very appreciative of, and they help sustain unity into its 76th year. Say with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. Our generous love offerings do good work in our community and beyond, and they are returned to us, multiplied abundantly. I just have a few announcements. First of all, thank you, Reverend Verona. Thank you, Laura Berman. Such a blessing to blend music and message together. And thank you all for being here today. Save the date for Wednesday night, exactly 1 week before Christmas. We're going to have a Christmas candle lighting, and it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to make sure that the heat's on 3 hours ahead of time, so we're nice and cozy. And I'm going to bring the candles, and you bring you and your consciousness, and we're going to have Margaret LeDuc and Troy Arnett music, bringing in some music, and we're going to sing a few Christmas carols too. I figured, everyone has started to decorate, for Christmas like the day after Halloween, so we can certainly have a Christmas candle lighting, a holiday candle lighting a week ahead of time, and do that together as a community. Look forward to seeing you there in person. Next year, we will have hybrid. We will have hybrid capabilities. So all of you only Zoomers, I'm so looking forward to our sweet high-res Zoom capabilities that we're going to have for hybrid services next year. Thank you for sustaining contributions. To go to our website. Thank you, Margie, for dropping that link in the chat. Your donations are tax deductible, whether they come in through PayPal, check, cash, or pigeon courier. Let's say together what I call the light prayer by James Dillett Freeman, and some other people have put this together. So say with me, the light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And Laura, if you'll sing us out on this 16th day of November, the only 16th day of November 2024 that there will ever be.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Verona. I think remembering we are the light, that one's sticking with me. Let's sing. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine. I shine so bright, yes I do. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, yeah. You are a light, I know that you are a light. You are a light in this world. You are a light, I know that you are a light. You are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, yes, you shine, and you shine so bright. We are a light, yeah. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world for our world, yeah. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world, and we shine, and we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. Yes, we do, and we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. We shine so bright. Mwah.
Thank you, everyone. Such a blessing today to be together here. Thank you, Verona, for that powerful talk, and Laura for your music.